Now, earlier this week, I was at the World Blockchain Forum in London, and there was a lot of talk about ICOs and whether we're in a bubble. Vinny, are we in a bubble?
I would say that it's likely we are, but it's hard to tell. If you look at the Bitcoin price charts the past 12 months, clearly it's very high relative to other offline currencies. Sure, but we're nowhere close. I mean, Bitcoin's a long way to go still.
But there's a lot of if you look at the white papers of the ICOs that are coming out today, I mean, some of them really shouldn't be done in crypto. It's people that are launching a coin for the sake of launching a coin and capitalizing on this ICO craze that's going on, and they're raising huge cash.
So here's the problem with raising huge cash. The failures aren't going to come out anytime soon. If you look at any company that's raised 30, 50, 100 million bucks plus, it's very unlikely they'll spend all that money, even if it is a scam in 12 months. They'll probably bleed it out slowly. So you have 2 or 3 years. The coins may trade down because the team's not producing, they're driving around Lamborghinis and not actually getting work done. And so that's the real risk. I think the reality is that this could go on for a long time.
I caught up with Michael Terpin at the World Blockchain Forum and asked him whether we were in an ICO bubble. Michael Terpin's been around for a while. He's from a company called Transform, and he's going to give me some insights as to whether or not we can expect this ICO bubble to crash. Michael, before we ask you the question of whether or not this is a bubble, give us some background about how you got into the blockchain.
Sure. So I've been a serial entrepreneur in marketing and technology, so I was looking for the next wave. I got very excited when the internet first came out, the web rather, in the early 90s. I got very excited by social media in the early 00s, and I got very excited when I saw Bitcoin and the blockchain in early 2013.
And when did you buy your first Bitcoin?
Early 2013.
So early 2013 you bought your first Bitcoin. What are you doing today?
So today I'm doing a couple of things. I run Transform Group, which is the #1 marketing advisory firm in the blockchain space. We work with 150 companies. We are about to do our 50th ICO. We did the first one, Mastercoin. We did the most prominent one, Ethereum. We've done numerous other ones, probably about half of the top 50 tokens we've worked with. That's
quite an impressive CV. On the stage today, you were asked whether you think this market's in a bubble. And when we walked down here, you talked to me about we see 1998 all over again.
Sure. So the bubble pop, first of all, the bubble is really defined as the top of a boom. We're clearly in a boom now. You don't know it's a bubble until it's over. So Alan Greenspan had said that the market was in irrational exuberance in late 1996. It had a long way to go before a pop. Late 1996, the NASDAQ was just around 1,000, then it went to 5. And then it crashed back down to 1,000. So I think that we're seeing some bubble-like behavior, but I think that we're also seeing some consolidating behavior. I think the next wave right now of companies to go and ICO or tokenize, do crowd sales is happening, where it's not just crypto kids, it's larger companies that see the fundamental disruption in having a tokenization and a distribution.
But that's the one thing that we're seeing. But the other thing that we're seeing is a lot of companies are just launching tokens, companies that probably shouldn't be launching tokens.
Well, it's a free country, as they say, in a free world. A lot of companies should not be startups. The failure rate for startups in Silicon Valley is 95%. The failure rate for tokens, even the crazy sounding ones, is significantly less.
And what about regulation? So are you a fan of self-regulation in the industry? Do you believe that that's something that can actually be achieved?
I think that self-regulation is necessary to prevent draconian regulation after the fact in every industry, right? I mean, there's a lot of industries that basically try to police themselves so that they don't have regulators who may not understand the difference between a security token and a utility token, try to figure out what's what, like China perhaps has said, all ICOs, we don't know, we don't like them.
So you were asked on stage, and I'm going to ask you the question again. 1 year from now, when we talk again, today the market capitalization is around $140 billion. 1 year from now, what's your bet?
Well, what I said was it was a binary answer. If we end up having more scenarios like today, the SEC said they're going to have a task force to look into ICOs, so this implies further regulation as opposed to just interpretation of current regulation, and you have other companies follow China's lead, I think we'll be lower. We'll be about 75 billion. It won't be a crash, but it'll be back to where we were say 6-7 months ago. I think if you have a couple of more world issues that cause the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum to go up, that will then provoke more bubble-like or boom-like activity. It could be as high as 400 billion.
That's Michael Terpin, and for those of you who don't know, he was one of the godfathers of cryptocurrency. In fact, he was the one behind the launch of Ethereum. Vinny, there's a lot of talk about ICOs. You've done one of probably the most successful ICO, not only the process of the ICO, but actually what happened afterwards and what you guys are doing. Twitter is abuzz with announcements coming out on Civic. Should we expect anything?
You can always expect announcements from us. We announced Science yesterday. Science Labs, we're basically working with them to make sure their companies can use Civic to run whatever processes they need to and ensure there's identity built into their platforms. And so we have a lot of these coming out. Look, the reality is this. When we did what we did and the market saw what the product was capable of doing, we've had an influx that we can't actually handle as a company. We literally have more people coming to us.
Too many requests at the moment coming to you.
And so, you know, where we are and where people think we are is kind of mismatched, but we're obviously catching up very quickly. And we have to scale up our business development team and our engineering team. We've already nearly tripled the company, or at least double the company already since 2 or 3 months ago. So we're growing quickly, but it takes time to build good tech and get it out the door. But there are some exciting stuff happening in the short term as well.
So I think what you're saying is at 40 cents, just fill up your socks. Fill up your you can't, you're not going to come in.
But all I can say is we're working very hard around the clock. We thank everyone who's sending us leads and business development opportunities. We wish we could respond to all of them quickly. We're just swamped right now, and it's great. And I think that it's validating the market that we're in, and I think we'll continue to grow at a pretty healthy pace. And there's lots of announcements in the pipeline. So
Civic's ICO was one of the most exciting ICOs and probably one of the most well-run ICOs.